Alright, welcome everyone to another one of my ZBrush tutorials. Today what I'm going to show you how to do is how to make a crowbar. Now you would think, well, pretty simple to do, but one of the things I want to emphasize here, I found out how a really good way of making a smooth bend radius on what we're going to use is we're going to start with a cube. We're going to make a hexagonal shaped crowbar, but what I want to demonstrate here is how you can do a smooth bend radius, and I'll give you an example of that. Now we're going to start with a cube 3D here. Drag it to the canvas. You hit the edit button. I believe that's Q, and no, it's T. You can get the T on your space bar. But when you initialize it, you want to get the sides down to 8. Now you got your octagonal shape, and some of the crowbars I've seen that seem like they're made of a piece of iron that's been, I guess, extruded as an octagon. And so we're going to make that a polymesh first off, and then what we want to do is kind of get it down in the canvas there, and we want to do a deformation on it. We want to size it in the z-axis to stretch it out. Now, I guess that's as if you were extruding a piece of iron. Get something kind of long. Hit the F key so you can see it full screen. Yeah, you might want to make it a tad longer, so we'll stretch it out some more. Of course, you can go to Alt and get it in the screen also. But anyway, one of the things, first off, is when you bend an object in a polymesh, you want a few more divisions. So on polygroups, I'm going to lighten the color up on this so we can see it a little better, something like that. I don't want to divide this a couple times, and so we're going to divide it. We're going to watch our points up at the top here. We don't want to make the object a little, and we'll go back to low resolution. We're going to divide it down to 5, so we've got plenty of divisions, but I need to go back a second because I want the ends to stay crisp, so we're going to turn off the SMT. Now we'll divide it up to 5. We'll delete our lower. And the SMT button would smooth it out, but we don't want that right now. So what we're going to do first off, we're going to do some masking. And we can take advantage of our grid at the bottom, so we can kind of get some rough measurements of how big we want each end to be. And so we're going to go by the divisions here. And so when I mask off, of course you hold down Control. I'm going to mask off about here, just for starters. We're going to mask off one end of it there. And then we're going to blur our mask a couple of times. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and flatten out this end. And it's the reason I do this while it's still in as a polymesh. It's a lot easier to do it when you skin it. But once we get our ends flattened and some bends made, then I'm going to do the dynamesh, and we'll do our final sculpting and smoothing from there. But what I want to do is I want to flatten this end down. So what we want to do, we're going to turn it so we can see the end there. We're going to do a deformation, and we're going to flatten that out in the Y direction to get kind of the point of our chisel there, or the chisel point of one end of the crowbar. And then we're going to spread that out along the X. Whoops. Wrong deformation. And hit up. We want to spread the end out. That's going to be the straight pry end of our crowbar. So we'll clear this mask. We've got one end. Now we want to do the end that we're going to have our. Well, I want to demonstrate how I do the smooth bend radius. I worked on this a while, and I kind of discovered it, and you can get a fairly good smooth bend radius. And so what we're going to do is we're going to maybe we should mask it off a little bit more for our pry end. We'll blur that mask again. But then we're going to get do our deformation. We're going to flatten out the end of it. So, it's the wrong way. I'm going to flatten it down on the Y. Go this way. And then we want to size it along the X to spread out our pry end. Well, this can be like the end for your nail, where you pull out a nail or whatever. Size radius coming back. Now, so we've got the other pry end. Now, we want to adjust this mask a little bit. We're going to do it again here. So we get kind of like one, because we're going to bend this up into kind of a hook. So we're going to blur that down. Now, what I'm going to do here is I kind of discovered this by accident. Messing with the transform tool, which I found out. Let's say you're going to we're going to rotate this actually, so you can just tap at the area you're interested in, and not exactly there. We'll do this again, but we want to like get it straight out. First off, because it's when you tap on it, it's going on a normal of the surface, so we want something like that, kind of in the center. And what you can do when you got these many divisions, and if you bring up the transform tool above the surface and off the surface, you can get a fairly good smooth bend radius like that. Now it's going to duck down a little bit, but this is like pretty close to the real world, where maybe a blacksmith would do this. He would encounter the same type of thing. But this is acceptable because we can sculpt out anything that we don't like. So you got something. You got it kind of maintains a radius there, and I guess you can play with it, and maybe you get in the center of the radius there. You can get a little better bend, but that's gonna be good for now. We got the hook end of the crowbar, so well now we're not going to worry too much about this this deformation. Although you can pop out a move if you like, and you can try moving this. Well, actually, if you hold down the control key, no, that's not the right one. Or is it the Alt? Or maybe you have to get it there. It's either one of these and hold down. No, that's not it. Anyway, we're going to leave that alone. But anyway, you know, you want to hold that transform tool above the surface and turn it, so you get a really nice smooth bend radius there. I mean, other than the hump in the back, you can sculpt out. You can do some additional transformations. But we've got a pretty good start on the crowbar here. So we can go ahead and remove this mask. Now what we want to do, we want to sculpt this that little V slot in there, in this end. And there's a way you can do this to ensure you get plenty of topology. So we're going to skin this, we're going to dynamesh it, in other words. And we're going to go up to 256, which is double 128. I'm going to dynamesh, and let's see, did we get it? Okay, yeah, we got a dynamesh now. So now what I want to do, I want to cut my V slot in here before I do any additional sculpting. And one thing I learned is to get a good cut, I think I'll go ahead and turn all these on. I want to rotate this whole thing and get this pry end. I want to get it parallel as possible to this Z wall here. And so we're going to get the rotation. We're going to zoom out a little bit. We're going to do a rotation here. And maybe zoom back in. do the rotation a little bit more. I want to get as parallel as possible to that Z wall, because I found out that seems to help when you're making cuts with your clip curve tool. So as to not affect any of the rest of the geometry, what we're going to clip, we're going to mask off again. And we mask off about that much. We don't want this part of the geometry to be affected. And so we can turn off the floor temporarily. We're going to get that V slot in there. So you hold down Control Shift, you go over here and choose the clip curve tool. And you drag out, oh, that's not good. Sometimes it doesn't respond. There we go. So we're going to make a V shape. If you tap Alt twice, it'll make a sharp turn. And then you can hold down the space bar simultaneously, and you can center that cut. Oh, I missed it a little bit there. Maybe it should come the other direction. Yeah, we don't want to mask off the inside. You can hold down your space bar. And it's going to be a little wide. I'm going to cancel that. I want to get a good angle here. Something, if we go up a little bit. And then you got your slot cut right there. Now sometimes we have this little bit of leftover geometry, and maybe I should reskin this in a higher mesh. That's not much, and usually let's smooth that out. We're going to leave it at that. That's pretty clean. That's pretty clean. So even though I got that one nagging little piece in there, I've run across this problem before. Get a little bit bigger. Yeah, we're going to call that good. Just that bedevils me there. And I don't know if I can make a cut small enough to get in there. So we're going to leave that be. That's pretty small potatoes there. I want to finish up and with this tutorial anyway. I think that'll get you off to a good start in your ZBrush. See, we got a little stray something here when we cut our V. We can smooth that out. So I'm going to polish up here. I don't know how I got that. It must have been when I was I'm going to go to a soft polish tool. See if we can fix that. Minor mistake there, but and of course we don't want to get it too thin, so we might want to go down with the intensity. Boy, that bugs me there, but I didn't do something quite right. Well, I'm not going to at this point. I believe I emphasize what I came to emphasize, so I'm going to leave that be. I mean, I don't want to sit there and spend your whole day trying to figure that out. You can always find ways to fix it. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to just clip that off, and we'll finish smoothing up here. Get rid of some of this. Yeah, obviously I must have kicked something off there, and the clip curve accidentally got over there. I've had that happen earlier when I was doing the run through of how I was going to do this video. But anyway, that's pretty close. Nobody's perfect, so we'll just smooth this out. And you can watch my video, and I hope you subscribe, and maybe you get something out of this. But you know, I was amazed I was able to pull off this smooth bend radius you know, I really wanted to demonstrate that. I know this method can probably be much improved on beyond what I've done here, but I did want to share it with you, and so I'm doing it, you know, the best way I can. But I thought that was really important because there's so many other things you can find useful, especially when you're dealing with the polymesh as opposed to a you know, a Z-mesh or a Z-sphere mesh, which this would be rather difficult to do with a Z-sphere mesh. So starting with a polymesh and going to a dynamesh and getting you know, this good looking of a crowbar, I mean, you know, I thought, wow, that's outstanding. So anyway, we've got that pretty much done, and you notice you've got that octangular shape, which I'm pretty sure you've seen crowbars out there that mimic this type of crowbar. So we're going to go ahead and drop our dots of metal, which is material I've come to like, especially making these hard-edged, you know, metallic tools and such. But I'm going to go ahead and render it up, and looks like we've already got a Z floor to use, so we won't have to do too much manipulation here. And we'll just turn off the X and Y. Or was it no? That was probably a Y floor. That was the X floor. We got our X floor ready to go, so we can display our beautifully made crowbar. And of course, if you want to get that into the, I think you can reset the pivot point. Yeah, get it right, the line right on the plane there. And then you can go over to draw here, and you can stretch out your grid so your shadows don't fall off and just fall off the edge. And as always, looks like it's pretty much lying down. I guess you could rotate that a little bit to simulate. I think it's alright. It would lay on its side like that, so that's cool. Okay, so we got a crowbar made here, and we're gonna put it in our showcase. You know, you got your crowbar store where you're selling nothing but beautifully made blacksmith crowbars, maybe old school, you know, and you get the forge out there in the backyard, and you're pounding out, you know, handmade crowbars all day, which would be kind of a cool job. Of course, you could make other things. You could make sledgehammers and hammers and crowbars and all those such things. So anyway, we're going to display our crowbar here. We're going to put it in the showcase. I'm going to turn on plenty of lights, you know, and get everything kind of really neat. Make sure the shadows on. We want lots of complex shadows, you know, to get that reality look, and just have although I don't really like the blue light that much, but I like an orange light, and we're going to change that to kind of an orange light. I like orange lights better. Just a preference I have. And we're going to pop a shadow on for that. Got a shadow there, shadow there, shadow. That's that radial light. Maybe we'll bump up the ambient on that. Get a good look at our crowbar there. And kind of get some not too long shadows, kind of short shadows. And so here we go. And of course, you know, before you render it, you can smooth out the normals, turn on your soft Z, your soft RGB, maybe bump up the global specular a little bit, a little shine on your crowbar, maybe the strength of the floor shadow, maybe a little bit, and that one there you get some really crazy effects. You get a really blurred shadow. I'm going to put that at 14 to hit the DPR, and that's going to take a while. I got a lot of lights on, a lot of lights. I like always plenty of lights, plenty of shadows to give it that convincing, you know, come by my crowbar. Look at this, it's a beautiful crowbar. So you got your crowbar in the showcase window, and You want plenty of lights on it. So it's going to take a little bit to render here, but we should get a really cool looking display. And I'm going to wrap this up. And I think the next thing I want to make, I made a chair, and we'll learn how to make a wooden chair. It's something I worked on. It might be a little bit longer tutorial, but there's always something you can make in ZBrush. And as always, if you really want to get into the more of ZBrush, you can go to digitaltools.com. So there's our crowbar, and that looks good. So anyway, so thanks for watching, and look for some more coming their way. And that's it for now. So thanks for viewing.